And here we're under starters orders now, and we're away for another 19 laps of the Sachsenring. And heading down to the first corner, it looks to me like Noguchi's made a really good start, but so has the number 28, number 9 machine of Billy Van Aert. He made a good start as well, going down the hill now. 92, Cooney is there as well, I think.
Well, I think, like Acosta, Billy Van Aert will have gained lots of confidence from yesterday, just knowing that he can run with the fastest guys in this championship, the fastest guys in the race. He's a little guy, he's quite light, and that might have helped him a little bit just to get the jump. But he obviously had to react pretty quick there, but fantastic to get into turn one and get the whole shot.
Yeah, superb stuff from the Australians. So Cooney in second place, Tata, Noguchi, Uriart, Planks, and let's just see where Pedro Acosta, 37,
11.
Yeah. Well, he came from 10th on the grid, so he's not gone forward off the start. He's got a lot of work to do. There's plenty of laps around here, a lot of corners, a lot of passing opportunities, even if it is difficult. As Neil said, you've got to make your passing opportunities here. Down the waterfall they go. And here's one of the first big passing opportunities on the brakes here at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah, into this fast left-hander, back a couple of gears.
Oh, and a faller. We've got a faller there. And it's 56 Noguchi. It's 56 Noguchi. He was so frustrated yesterday. He really came into the weekend with thoughts of winning, especially after a good qualifying. But that won't happen now. 99 it is. Carlos Tato, the points leader, who has the advantage. Cooney, Van Aert, Uriart, Planck, Fallon, Cook, Salvador, De Pasquier, Acosta. And he's running to the bike to see if he can restart it. But the men want to get it out of the way, and here's the replay.
Yeah, not sure what his track position. Yeah, towards the back of the. It touched the rider in front. Maybe just misjudged when the rider was going to turn in. Not quite sure who was in front of him then. Might have been was it Cooney or?
Yeah, not sure. Anyway, we're back with the leader. It is Carlos Tatai. And behind him, Cooney in second place, and Billy Van Aert, Uriart, Fallon, Plants, Salvador, Cook, Acosta up into 9th place.
Carlos Tatai back with that familiar, all-aggressive body language on the bike, really busy on the bike, really working hard, trying his very best to make a break like he did in Mugello. Not quite happening this time because Yuki Cooney's right on his rear wheel.
So they go down the hill. Cooney picking up the slipstream. As Neil said yesterday, there's not much straights here, but there's plenty of slipstreaming opportunities around these super fast corners. Cooney goes for the inside line, can't do it. Billy Van Aert there in a very strong 3rd place.
Well, actually in the smaller classes, just because of the slipstream effect, there is an offer of more passing opportunities, whereas in the MotoGP class it's pretty much one line all the way around here, and slipstreaming makes very little difference, so more opportunities for these guys.
So Billy Van Aert pulls out of the slipstream of Yuki. Cooney comes alongside him up the inside, but Cooney's late on the brakes. Hangs on to that 2nd place. 29 is Billy Van Aert as they go down the hill. Uriart fell on number 5. That's 29 is Billy Van Aert. As I said, Uriart really has come on strong through Assen here.
Tatai setting fast pace again. First fastest lap, 1:29.6, so he really has got his head down.
And 38 was Salvador up in the 7th place, ahead of Acosta, 37, who's now 8th. You're on board with David Salvador, going down through that super fast left-hander. Then there's hardly any straight at all, and then swings left-handed quite steeply uphill.
1.5 seconds covering the top 10 at the moment. Tatai in front, Jason De Pasquier in 10th.
Well, Tatai is leading from Cooney and Van Aert. Cooney and Van Aert both having really thoughts about passing here. Tatai not running away with it at all. And in fact, on the brakes at the bottom, Cooney has a look up the inside, can't do it.
Yeah, just testing the water there, really setting himself up. That's definitely a good passing opportunity if he's close enough at the top of the hill.
And not only is Tatai not running away at the front himself, but in fact the leading trio have been completely caught by those chasing, and that's Uriart and Fallon. Again,
Cooney good on the brakes.
Yeah.
Yesterday I would have said Carlos Tatai was the man on the brakes into turn 1. He certainly was very good at passing in there when he had to grab some places back, but Cooney as well, strong and late in there because Billy Van Aert thinking about a pass there, but there was no way he could go with Cooney on the brakes.
So Acosta now up into 7th place. Not a great start and first lap for yesterday's winner, but there he is on the number 37 machine.
Not a great start, but he certainly got the pace. Fastest lap of the race to Costa on that lap still. He certainly got a 29.2, so real strong pace coming.
And he's a young man who's obviously learning, not getting in, hopefully, over his head, trying to make it up too quickly when things didn't go right for him off the start.
But he knows he's got the pace, and just being patient is the key. He knows he can circulate in this bunch. At the moment, he's less than a second behind the leaders, so there's plenty of time.
So this is where Cooney had a look last time. He's right on Tatai's tail, but no attempt to pass this time.
I think he might just try into turn 1, so this is the last corner they're coming up to now, and if Cooney, number 92, can get a nice run through here, maybe get on the back wheel, get a little bit of a slipstream, and try and get alongside Tatai into turn 1.
Yeah, because that's exactly what Billy Van Aert did last time on Cooney. As you're saying it, you're dead right, Neil. He's having a look up the inside.
Yeah, does the right thing there, but Uriat is a little bit brave. I think he grabbed the position there. Maybe just got past Fellon.
Down the hill again. Again, we've got this superb sort of 10 bikes all in a bunch there at the front with any one of them. And it's very much the same same guys as it was yesterday. So down the hill again, still Carlos the points leader, well in command of this race.
A bit of a replay through the top there. Just see the guys through that ultra fast left, and then they change direction, flick right, and then head down the waterfall. Number 11 there, Eskrig in the background, followed by Rouge. Superb
stuff. Still Tatai, and then go down the hill again. Tatai in the advance, but Cooney now looking very strong behind. Will he have a go at him? If he doesn't pass, he'll be passed by somebody else, I think, as they break for the left-hander. Out of it still comes Tatai and Cooney, but I think it's Fellon, is it, who's got up into 3rd place now? Absolutely, yes, it's the young Frenchman Fellon, the 14-year-old. He's 7th in the points table at the moment, and he's moved up into 3rd place. And he's looking at Cooney as well.
He's thinking about a move on the brakes there. Number 5, Fellon. Does he do it? I think he does. Slips into 2nd. And he's a classic example of a young, talented rider that hasn't been to the racetracks. Race 1 on Saturday, just learning his skills, learning his way around, and then comes out fighting on the Sunday. So really good. I've been really impressed with his progress. He's only young. He's a little guy, but he really is a nice little rider. Looks great on the bike.
Now, what he's got to watch for, and we can watch out for it as well, is exceeding track limits, because he lost a podium at Jerez because he lost track limits. And in fact, yesterday he'd got up to 4 track limits before the race was stopped. So if he'd got to 5th, he'd had a penalty. So, let's see just how much of that track he's using this time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he needs to learn how to ride the bike and have a look at the rule book as well, because it can cost you dear.
Indeed, but at the moment there's no sign of him going over the curbs there, but he's actually losing ground to Carlos Tatai as they go down the waterfall. This is the biggest advantage that Carlos has had, and then he's got about 10 bike lengths at the moment. So Cooney in 3rd place.
And the track limits are normally marked by the green concrete. Some tracks encourage it more because it's very tempting to use it just to gain a bit of speed. The really only place you would exceed is the last 2 corners. That's it's easy to get caught out and get sucked in and use a little bit more track, and sometimes coming up the hill there onto the start-finish straight.
So Cooney 92 still in 3rd place, ahead of Billy Van Aert. Acosta's up to 5th place. So he's the man to watch, but in the meantime, Carlos Tatai just inching away. Cooney has seen that is happening, doesn't want to let him get there, and has got back into 2nd place ahead of Fellon, number 5. Down the hill they go. Billy Van Aert in 4th, Acosta up to 5th.
Yeah, just inching away, as you said, Pete, and just 0.3 of a second was all he got on that lap. But if these they add up, and especially if the guys behind start passing each other, but that was Tatai, 0.5, he's got half a second at the moment, but that's quite a lot in a Rookies Cup race, and if you can maintain that little advantage every lap, then he'll be in good shape. It's not easy to break away. Yuki Cooney now digging deep, trying to get back to Tatai, and we saw Tatai get a little advantage yesterday, but it was soon, the gap was soon bridged.
Yes, and it looks to me, Neil, as though Cooney is doing exactly that. He is closing. He's got away from Fellon on the number 5 bike and leaving Fellon to defend third place from Billy Van Aert and Acosta. Acosta won't want to waste time getting past those. They all fan out across the track, in fact, and it's going to be a big shake-up here for third place into the left-hander. And Tatai and Cooney have got a bit of a break on this group, and they really need to get back on terms because those two guys are super smooth and will make a break for it. Acosta is up into third place. He's yesterday's winner. On the number 37 machine, out onto the start and finish. 37 it is, who's in third place ahead of Fellon, Uriarte, Basquiat, Van Aert, Cook, Plants, and Salvador is in 10th place ahead of Escrig.
Yeah, Fellon having to defend against about 8 guys right behind him, not just 1 or 2. He really has got, he's got a pack behind him, fighting behind him, and Tatai and Cooney got a little gap there. They've got a second actually. Cooney's got a second on Acosta over the line that last time.
But Acosta's only just made it to third, and if the guys behind are bright enough, they know that Acosta has got the pace, and really they should just settle and follow him and hope to get back on terms with Tatai and Cooney. So there is the 37 machine of Pedro Acosta leading that pack down the hill in the pursuit of the two super smooth men, Tatai and Cooney. Climbing again. And they're just reeling off the laps now, and Fellon had a look at going up the inside of Acosta and thought better of it. And Acosta really just has to put together the perfect laps now. He pulled his way through that pack from, I think Neil said he was back in 11th place. He's now up to third place, and he had the pace to win it yesterday.
He did, and that's fine when the bunch are all together. He was way back in 11th, and there was only a second covering the top 10, so it's certainly possible to get back to the front, but we've got Fowler.
That's Philip Ton. He got a point yesterday. He's the local man, of course, the German. He got a very good point yesterday, but unfortunately he's obviously out of the race now, perfectly okay. The 13-year-old German.
He was on his own there at the back, not quite sure what happened there, ran a little bit wide and of course onto the gravel and down he went. Yeah, that's too bad, but little guy looks okay. That's the main thing.
Yeah, bad luck for him. Anyway, so back with the race. And it's still down to Acosta to close that gap on Tatai and Cooney.
That's tough. That is a big ask. 1.5 seconds is the gap at the moment between himself and Yuki Cooney, so that's really a big gap to try and bridge, especially when he's got another 6 or 7 riders tagged onto the rear of his machine.
Yeah, and you're on board with David Salvador now, and Salvador is back there in 8th place. You've got 7 men in front of you. Salvador just maybe being a little bit cautious after what happened yesterday, but he's a very, very clever thinking rider, as well as being talented. He's now 3rd in the points chase, so he needs to pick up some good points here to hang on to that position this afternoon. They switch direction. It's still Acosta leading that 2nd place bunch from Fellon, and since he's been at the head of that bunch, he hasn't made any ground, has he, on the 2 guys ahead?
No, he hasn't. It's not quite happening because while you get a slipstream from the guy in front, if you are the guy in front, you actually get pulled back. You can feel yourself on the bike actually getting pulled back towards the guy behind, so it just doesn't let him get away. What is good though, this 8-way battle here is for the podium, so all of these guys got a fighting chance of getting on the podium, and they know it. So being in the middle of that group's not a problem. You'll get sucked along, but you really have to stay in touch.
Yeah, now we've got 10 laps to go. We're just coming up to half distance here, and a fascinating battle between these 2 guys at the front. Of course, they battled at the beginning of the season for those 2 races in Jerez before Yuki Cooney got injured in Mugello while Tatai ran away from the race, and it looks as though they're back to that now. Cooney, with that right wrist injury, he said it was putting up with things very well yesterday. He's very tight inside. That's an unusual place to pass, Neil.
It really is, yeah. Plenty grip on the side there, but if the rider in front tends to close the door and coming over and you're on you and you touch, then you've got a limited amount of grip there. But through he goes, and yeah, I think adrenaline probably getting him through any slight pain he's got with his wrist. And I was going to say, he's done the hard work bridging that gap, getting on the back of Tatai, and I thought he might just sit there because he's got a nice comfortable gap behind him, but maybe he has got the pace, maybe he's got the grip, maybe he's made his bike better, maybe Tatai's made his bike worse, and he doesn't have the pace because Tatai's last lap was a 1:30, which is not a lap time we saw coming from him yesterday, so maybe he's used the best of his tyre or the best of his pace.
Yeah, interesting. You know, as I say, Tatai did say that the tyres were standing up well yesterday, but as Neil pointed out, after a big wash overnight, maybe there's more grip out there, maybe the tyres are getting abraded more.
And he had a good old look behind there just to see if he had any threat from behind, which he didn't. Nice drive on the start-finish straight. He's late on the brakes. Does he pass? Not this time. He's thinking about it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting just to see if Tata has got anything left.
And clearly those guys behind are going as quick as they can, because if any of them felt that they had something extra, seeing the two guys in front run away, they would have jumped to the front of the pack. So it's Acosta and Fellon still, and with nobody else able to overtake them.
Definitely. So maybe Tata just decided to have a bit of a rest, look at Cooney. He knows Cooney's got some pace, so he can have a look at him and see if there's any passing opportunities.
Right, still 9 laps remaining. Plenty of action left in this race. But these two guys putting in the perfect performance at the moment. Now, after having a really good run to get past, Cooney has not so far been able to break away.
He looks very smooth and slightly smoother rider than Tatai. Very accurate, very smooth on the bike. Pretty much the full package. Tatai's going to have to dig deep now to stay with them. He's particularly strong through the next corner, number 99 Tata. He gets a good drive up the hill and gets good drive in, and as I said, he is good into turn 1, so this is maybe somewhere that he needs to set up Cooney for a pass.
So across the start and finish line they go then, completing lap 11, 8 laps remaining, and those two arch rivals very much have got this race in their hands. 2 seconds they now have over Acosta. Dupasquier it is who's up into 4th place ahead of the Fellon. Salvador has moved forward. That's the second of the on-bike cameras and Salvador, so he's moved now up into 6th place, just inching his way forward towards the head of that group.
One thing Tatai does have is a nice championship advantage, so what he can't afford to do is risk throwing away 20 points if he finishes second, so he may well be just happy to sit there, and if he doesn't have the pace, just try and manage the gap between himself and 3rd place man Acosta.
Yeah, interesting thought. Of course, he's a racer who'll win if he can, but as you say, Neil, he's a thinking man, thinks an enormous amount about his racing. So if the bike, if it isn't all quite together here, he may well accept that 2nd place.
And he's losing time to Cooney at the moment. He's not so fast through the sectors, so there is a gap appearing.
Right, well, of course, what he doesn't want to do, he wants to protect that 2-second advantage that they have over 3rd, because he certainly doesn't want to be swallowed up in that group.
But he has got the perfect target. If he can just keep focused on Yuki Cooney, even if he's losing a little bit of time to him, that's a good motivation just to keep the pace up, and he'll be hoping that these guys start passing each other and maybe tripping each other up and costing themselves some time. Yeah,
and they're also sort of using that green concrete as painted concrete, and they'll be exceeding track limits. So I haven't actually seen Fellon do it too much, but some of them certainly are using it, so they'll be racking up those sort of warning points.
Completely different line coming up over the start finish there. Cooney over to the left and Tatai to the right.
And Acosta still in that 3rd place, but still unable really to make impact on that 2-second advantage that the lead duo has. You're on board with David Salvador, now in 7th place, 6 men ahead of you, 4 in that group. And that is the 38 machine with the second of the onboard cameras. And Salvador doing a good job, just picking up a place or two and moving towards the front of that pack. Dupasquier on 50 is up in the 2nd place in the group behind Acosta. Of course, as Neil pointed out, they're all hunted the one remaining points position, but Dupasquier got it all an odd line going up the hill there and lost out completely.
Well, he had to sit things up and he completely lost his drive there. Yeah, just looking like he was maybe going to get into a little bit of bother there and just tried to stay out of trouble.
So Fellon took up that 2nd place in the group ahead of Dupasquier and Billy Van Aert.
And they took front in view from this group, so they can focus on them. They're pretty much bolted together, Cooney and Tatai at the moment.
So 7 laps remaining. 38 Salvador. And I'm really quite surprised that Acosta can't bridge that gap. He was so quick yesterday. And he certainly seemed to be able to have at least the pace of these two guys yesterday.
Gap's actually getting bigger. It went from 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds on that last lap. So.
And it's not because Costa's being messed up. Fellon, Dupasquier, Vaneur, they've not been in front of him. You know, they have for a few laps now. He's got that clear road.
Yeah, he's able to stay in front, but not make any time in these guys. It's going to be fascinating here just to see what, or if Tatai has got anything up his sleeve. It seems like Cooney's faster at this part of the racetrack, up over the left here and down through the fast lefts, but how is Tatai able to pull him back as they head into the third part of the racetrack?
Yes, he's just hanging in there, not worried about getting too close, but keeping that gap at just a couple of bike lengths.
It's quite nice if you can get into a rhythm like that, because you do conserve your tyres. You're not digging deep trying to ride the bike super hard to catch the guy in front. He can keep smooth, he can keep a nice rhythm and hopefully preserve his tyres a little bit. And also the slipstream effect he'll be getting just helps him along the straight. Physically it's a bit easier. It just makes things a bit nicer, and you can also see where he might be a little bit quicker or where he can try and set up a passing manoeuvre. If he's going to pass into turn one, then he has the whole lap to be repassed, so ideally he passes him later in the lap, but he's decided he's going to go for it.
So the gap back to third remains 2 seconds, so he's taken that advantage now. He heads off in front. Tatai leads down the hill. Cooney with a bit of an odd line there, lost a couple of bike lengths.
Yeah, he lost a few tenths there, just seemed to go wide for no reason. And look at this, Tatai already put some time into him. Wow.
Yeah, do you think that sort of that just spoilt Cooney's rhythm as Tatai went past him, perhaps?
It certainly cost them 2 or 3 tenths, but we'll see now if it was a mistake or he's just lost a bit of grip from his tyres. But he was able to bridge the gap this big before, so what he has to be careful of is Costa there. You can see him visually a bit closer.
Yeah, so climbing the hill, and Tatai's really gone for it now, hasn't he? Really has gone for it.
Yeah, half a second he's got now, so it's going to be impressed if Cooney can pull that back.
Well, and of course, you know, there is that wrist injury that Cooney has, and he wasn't troubled by the end of the race yesterday, but of course that was the race stopped at about this point yesterday. So, you know, it's still questionable whether he is going to suffer with that towards the end of the race, and that battle for third place is as hot as it ever was. You're on board with Salvador, back in 8th place, but looking at the 89 machine of Uriart in 7th. Pasquet ahead on 50. Across the start and finish, there's now 15 laps gone, 4 remaining.
Well, Acosta has taken a second out of Cooney on that lap. 0.9 the gap, and it was 1.8, 9 tenths per second he's got back. So at this rate, Cooney doesn't have a safe second. No,
he doesn't. You can see now, there is the gap. And in fact, Acosta's got away from that pack and is in his pursuit of Cooney. So the race has really changed complexion quite a lot here. Fellon has been pushed back. Billy Van Aert has got ahead of him. And the race is all on now for swapping around for the podium position. Still, Carlos Tatai has the advantage. On the 99 machine, he's keeping reeling off the laps, but Cooney just had a bad period there. Maybe he's settled again in the pursuit of Tatai. It's what he needs to do is 3 and a bit laps remaining. He certainly can't afford to relax at all. Down the hill they go.
Well, he's not close enough to pick up any slipstream from Tatai, so he's lost that luxury.
And there are the pursuers. It's Pedro Acosta and the number 29 machine of Billy Van Aert. Out onto the start and finish straight again to complete lap 16. 3 laps remaining for Carlos Tatai. Can he pick up another perfect result here? Another points advantage over Cooney, Acosta, Van Aert, Fellon, Dupasquier. Cook up to 7th place ahead of Salvador, Uriart and Escrig.
And interesting, Billy Van Aert set his fastest lap of the race, 1:29.4, so he's got a little bit left, and that was something that I noticed in qualifying. He was the kid that could put fast laps in towards the end of qualifying when the tyres arguably or possibly were at their worst, so his bike setup allows him to go fast towards the end. So It's not really a question. He could get on the podium as well.
Now, all these guys ride supermoto, they ride dirt bikes, they ride everything as part of training, but it's a very big part of Billy Van Aert's history is the dirt track, so maybe if things are sliding around, he's the happiest man out there.
Could be it, yeah. He's not scared when things are moving around. He's in control, he can feel it. He can adjust his riding style, he can adjust things to get the very best out of the tyre.
So Acosta there is still in third place, ahead of Fellon and Billy Van Aert. Cook sixth, Dupasquier, Salvador, Uriart, Eskrig and Planck. But still Tatai continues to put in those perfect laps. Is Cooney coming back at him, Neil, at all? Not really, still 7/10.
And 7/10 between Cooney and Acosta in third.
So now, and that's very much exceeding track limits. I don't know what Acosta's count is, but he can't afford to do that sort of thing, otherwise he's going to get the penalty. Across the start finish, just 2 laps remaining now. The pressure's on for the podium positions. Tatai, Cooney, Acosta at the moment, but Fellon, Van Aert, Dupasquier, Cook, Salvador and Uriart will have thoughts of changing that in the last 2 laps of the Sachsenring.
It's interesting because it's all closing up. Cooney actually got 1/10 closer to Tatai, and Acosta got a 10th of a second closer to Cooney. So the guys all coming back together in the closing stages of this race.
Incredible stuff. There's 30 is Max Cook up into 6th place. He's passed Billy Van Aert on the 29 machine. Go down the hill again. They go. There's the 50 of Dupasquier in 5th place behind Fellon and Acosta, chasing Cooney and Tatai. So just a lap and a half remaining of the Rookies' Cup here at the Sachsenring, and it looks now at least we will have the finale that we were denied yesterday. Down the hill they go. Tatai, Cooney, they're gone, but this is the battle for the final podium position.
Billy Van Aert getting a good drive down the hill right behind Max Cook there. I suspect he went to the wrong side to pull off a passing manoeuvre into the penultimate corner.
As Neil said, there's a 10th there gone out of Tatai's advantage.
Yeah, it's
coming out onto the start and finish. Let's see what it is. It's just single lap remaining now. A race 2 at the Sachsenring, and I think we're in for a blinder, certainly for the battle for the last podium places. There, Dupasquier 50 behind Fellon and Acosta. The 2 leaders, Tatai and Cooney. Cooney has closed that gap now. It's under 5/10, just over 4/10 of a second going on the last lap. That could be nothing on the last lap. Down the hill go the chasing pack.
Well, this bunch of 5 are going to be absolutely together as they come down the waterfall, and that is the last real sort of slipstreaming passing place. So they're all going to be trying to line each other up. I wouldn't really want to be the guy in the front of this group at the moment. That is so that is Costa. So
yeah,
see.
And Billy Van Aert's been shuffled to the back of it. So it's Acosta, Fellon, Dupasquier, Cook and Van Aert. That's that chasing pack seeking the last place on the podium. And Cooney could still have a go at Carlos Tatai here. That gap now down just to a couple of tenths. Really, the stopwatch doesn't matter anymore because it's all down to just who can do the out-braking things at the end. And Fellon has picked up 3rd place from Acosta, Dupasquier, Van Aert and Cook. The number 5 machine of Fellon, but they're going to fan out across the track as they go down to the bottom. Then, oh my goodness, that's using the track on the inside. It's about 4 abreast, and it's all on for the second for the win as well. Absolutely superb stuff from Yuki Cooney. There's 1 corner remaining. It's all on the brakes now. They weave across the track. There's Tatai trying to go up the inside. He can't do it. Cooney has done it, has he? He's got to get the drive up over the hill. There's still a few metres left, and it is going to be Yuki Cooney who wins race 2 from Tatai. Superb stuff. And is it Van Aert? Van Aert, Cook, Acosta. Well, we'll see the official, because that was just about a my goodness, a photo finish there. The result to be confirmed, because it looked, you know, as they flashed across the line, the timing screen shows Van Aert, Cook, Acosta, Dupasquier, Fellon and Salvador. Well, it's never been closer. We had 2 battles. What a sensational. It all, things calmed down in the middle of the race, and what a last lap. My goodness gracious me.
Well, what a total reshuffle in the top 7. You couldn't have predicted that, because it looked 2 laps to go. It was pretty much settled, everyone in position, but that is incredible.
Yeah, and Billy had sort of been, he'd been pushed to the back of that group. He said, oh, you were going to say good race, mate, but bad luck. And, you know, the timing screen has him on the podium. Cooney, Tatai, Van Aert, Cook, Acosta, Dupasquier, Fellon and Salvador. Wow. My goodness gracious me.
Yuki Kuni obviously had something up his sleeve, and on that last lap, a 29.5, which is one of the fastest laps of the race, so he really did have something left. He lulled Carlos Tata into a false sense of security, because at one point there was nearly a second gap, and then he just got his head down and pulled it all back. It wasn't like Tata made any big mistakes. It was Kuni that just had the pace and got his head down and made it happen. So massive respect. Oh, and we have had a reshuffle on the leaderboard, Pete.
Oh yeah, the timing screen has changed.
What?
It's changed, and it's been...
Oh,
and it's changed again?
All right.
Okay, right. Well, we may, though, it's gone back to Van Aert, Cook, Acosta, Dupasquier, Fallon, Salvador. So we'll see. Let's see if it's, we're going to have, let's that last lap anyway, Neil.
Yeah, well, this Carlos Tata in front here, Yuki Kuni, number 92, behind, slips past at the penultimate corner. Not even really that wide, but then he, you see this onboard looking back to Carlos Tata's bike. Kuni up the inside, classic passing manoeuvre at the Sachsenring, and then defended into the last corner, but stayed on track, swung back, quite legal really, just to cover himself for the last turn. Carlos Tata couldn't get the drive out of there. If the start finish had been a little bit further up the hill or a bit further along, then he might have had a chance, but it wasn't to be. So
yeah, incredible stuff.
Amazing, great riding from all the rookies.
Yeah, superb stuff. You know, absolutely brilliant there. And you know, we may be in for a photo finish, but the timekeeping is pretty exceptional here at MotoGP events. And just to reconfirm that at the moment the screen is still saying Kuni, Tata, Van Aert, Cook, Acosta, Dupasquier, Fallon and Salvador. And we're in the with his closure, Van Aert getting a big hug from Jack Miller there, and from some of his other fans. Jack really does give Billy a superb amount of support and mentoring, and they train together in Andorra while they're living in Europe, and he's always giving him a chat in the pit lane between practice sessions and that sort of thing, and it's a superb sort of support, and they congratulate each other. Big congrats from Billy Van Aert to Yuki Kuni, the winner. Wow, what a great way to finish the weekend.
Well, at one point it became quite static, and they were all being very sensible and not doing a lot of passing, but they were saving the best to last. And we talked about a finale, not having one yesterday and hoping that we get one today. That was amazing, because you couldn't have predicted the top 7 on that last lap. It was amazing. Yeah,
it'd be great to speak to Billy, you know, after the race to find out where that came from, because he did seem, you know, don't want to be harsh with it, but it did seem a spent force. He'd been shuffled to the back of that group, and you know, it really looked sort of being an Acosta-Fallon thing, but Acosta ended up in 5th place and Fallon ended up 7th.
He had a plan.
Yeah, he had a plan, yeah. And maybe, yeah, and presumably Kuni had a plan too. Would you think that that Tata just relaxed a little bit too much, or, you know, we'll find out, I guess.
Yeah,
we'll speak to them.
Yeah, he was half a second slower on that last lap than Yuki Kuni, but maybe Yuki Kuni just had a bit of a breather, a bit of a rest, and then made it happen. But I'm pleased for Billy. I'm pleased for all three. They all rode brilliant races, and of course, Carlos Tata, as I mentioned, has got that luxury of a strong championship lead, but he has to be careful. He definitely didn't want to fall over, but he's come away leading the championship again, and that's what you've got to do every weekend.
Of course, so Billy Van Aert, he's really now making up for that terribly unfortunate start to the season.
Yeah, just see on a screen that 3rd place is currently under investigation. Whether that be a timing issue or a riding issue, we're not really sure. So it is a provisional 3rd place for Billy Van Aert at the moment, and I'm sure we'll get that confirmed maybe before there's any official confirmation. Nicky Ristov, Red Bull boss, just explaining to Billy that
it's all under investigation.
Not confirmed, but he had a great ride, whatever.
Well, that's right. You know, I mean, let's hope he does get that 3rd place confirmed, and whether it's just a question of photo finish or some sort of riding irregularity, we have no idea at the moment. But let's hope he does, because he rode a blinder of a race, and but they'll be up in the control tower now, looking at footage.
Max Cook, so he should be also happy with that 4th position, but he does look a little bit confused as well.
Oh no, Billy Van Aert dropped 3 positions due to gained advantage at turn 11. Oh my goodness. So that puts Max on the podium.
Yes.
Puts Max on the podium. Well, you know, that's tough for Billy van Aert, but of course, if he did gain advantage at turn 11, you know, then that's racing, and
rules is rules.
Rules is rules. And you know, Max had crossed the line in 4th place there, and if he was robbed of that 4th place by that 3rd place by a sketchy move, then fair enough. It's Max Cook who will take that 3rd step of the podium. Hard, very tough on Billy van Aert. But we'll see a replay. Let's see if we can pick that up.
And yeah, Billy number 29 can't quite see where he's down the outside. Just onto the green concrete. So used the curb, which is perfectly okay, the orange and red curb, but that took him immediately onto the concrete, which gave him a bit more space. No real problem coming up over onto the start finish. But Billy, as you see there on the track, went over the line 3rd. But yeah, I think kind of circumstances, but I get what they're saying.
Yeah, that's right. I think we noticed at the time, didn't we, that they'd all fanned out across the track and someone was using a bit more.
There wasn't actually
road,
room for him to get back on, so he had to go onto the green. But you make that decision when you come up over there.
Right. Okay. Well, let's hear what the guys have to say about it.
Well, Max Cook, here we are. How was that race for you?
The race was so difficult, but right now I'm kind of speechless, to be honest, because obviously Billy, and he's one of my closest friends, he just got penalised, but I wanted a podium for so long, and now I'm finally here, and now I've just got to keep this going now all through the year. I had my moment of brilliance, like click, at Aston last weekend, and now I just got to keep this going. But thanks all to my family, my trainer Jack, he's done a great job, all my sponsors here, Red Bull Rookies, thank you so much.
Max, it's great to see you up here. Well done.
Yeah, and we can't take anything away from him. He deserved a rostrum place sooner or later. As he said, he clicked at Assen. He had a great ride in the first race, stopped by a technical difficulty. Had a superb run in the 2nd race, and now he's on the podium. Fantastic.
Carlos Tatai, talk to us about this race.
Well, incredible race. This one was better than yesterday because I tried my best. I finished 2nd. I'm really happy. I did it in Jerez when I passed him in the back straight, and he did it here. So congrats to him because he did a really good race. He was really strong, and rivals strong make you better. So we will keep pushing and keep learning for next race. So thank you to everyone that support me, that helped me, and see you in Austria.
Great, congratulations.
Yeah, and I think there's tremendous respect between those two guys. Really was superb stuff.
Yeah, number 99 there, Carlos Tatai came up over the flip-flop there, looking superb on the bike. As always, he's happy. It's a strong championship winning result, finishing 2nd, not taking any chances. So he did a great job. And as I said, he was pushed hard and he rode hard, and he'll try harder, come back stronger in the Red Bull Ring.
Yuki Kuni, that was epic to watch. How was it for you?
Yeah, my feel was incredible because I was following Tatai. I was limit, but tried to concentrate until finish. So until last lap, I was little bit gap to Tatai. So last lap, I can catch the Tatai. So last corner before turn, I overtake the Tatai. Then I can win. This is I'm very happy. So I want to say thanks to my family and the Rookies Cup staff. Thank you.
Brilliant, well done.
Yeah, superb stuff. What a recovery from Mugello. Superb.
Great stuff, and this was the moment that won him the race. Into the penultimate corner, just eased the brakes off. Tatai ran a little bit wide, defended all the way to the line. Perfectly safe, did the right job, expected, and Carlos Tatai gives him a friendly nudge there just to say well done. So great riding from all the guys.
Yeah, and it's setting up a great rest of the season too, because there's no way Tatai gave that away at all. He would have won it if he could, and I think these two are going to battle for the rest of the year. Absolutely brilliant stuff. And as you said before, Neil, contrasting styles, and it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Different riding styles, different ways of riding the bike, or getting the best out of the bike, but there's no perfect way, whichever works for the riders. And that's the great thing about motorcycle racing. The rider plays a massive part in the handling and the riding of the bike, and the riding skills and track craft. So it's great that they're all different and really interesting.
And as you said, Neil, we came here from Assen to the Sachsenring, incredibly different circuits. We're going to the Red Bull Ring, something very, very different again.
Pretty much so. Red Bull Ring's a lot of straights, a lot of slipstreaming, and a lot of tactics and strategies involved. So the riders have to think about that, and such different racetracks and different riding skills required at each one.
And confirmation then, Cook with the 3rd place, and Billy Van Aert unfortunately ended up in 6th place. So they're the last of the points getters. Again, points for Zonta van der Goorburg, Dojaro Sarko and Artem Marev. Picked up the last point for 15th. Just out of the points, Noah Detweiler, Tyler Scott and Aidan Liebenberg. Liebenberg sort of got off his sick bag to ride this afternoon, so it's good to see that at least got on the motorcycle. I see that he didn't finish the race, so he retired. Probably just he got a bug from his father, actually. That was bad luck. Ton, Rouget and Noguchi DNF'd. Unfortunately, we saw them, Noguchi and Ton, both fall unhurt.
If in doubt, blame the dad.
Well, that's
what I say.
Yeah, do your lads blame you, do they? I'm sure they do if they can. Right, championship then. Yuki Cooney has closed the gap very slightly, 47 points. Costa's in there in 3rd place on 77. David Salvador slipped to 4th with 81, ahead of Dupasquier and Noguchi. Of course, Noguchi didn't pick up any points. Baltus didn't pick up any points this weekend either. Unfortunately, he injured himself in practice. Just a sort of a cracked and dislocated rib, a nasty injury, but nothing that's going to last too long. He'll be back in action at the Red Bull Ring. But shame that Barry Baltus didn't make the race. He's such a superb battler. And there's all the point scorers. All 25 rookies have scored already this year. Superb to see. And we've still got almost half the season remaining. We have the races at the Red Bull Ring, we have Misano, and we have the final round at Motorland Aragon, of course. So there are the 3 winners. And today the trophy will be awarded by Elias Hutonji, from the Team Red Bull Drift Brothers. And I'm sure he's enjoyed watching these guys slide around this afternoon. They're 2nd and 3rd, and the winner, Yuki Cooney, the pole man, the 16-year-old Japanese, 2nd in the points chase, his 2nd win of the year, and he's very much back in the title chase now. There's Max Cook, his 1st time on the Rookies Cup podium, and let's hope it's not his last. There's every chance. We said during the race that he could put it on the podium, and he has done exactly that. Tatai, the points leader, and those superb replicas of the KTM RC 250R. They're the trophies always here, traditionally here at the Sachsenring.